So you're dating a new girl, and at first everything is going perfectly. You're leading the way, she's bought into the relationship, she's your girl. But then 2 or 3 months in, things start to slip a little bit. She no longer feels as bought in. Maybe you try and set a boundary with her that, look, it's not all right with me if you go on this trip with all your single wild friends. And then she doesn't really respect that boundary. And now either she slips away and the relationship ends, or maybe she stays with you, but she no longer really respects you. And you're starting to feel like a beta cuck. Or maybe you even struggle to attract the high quality girl in the first place. You don't have trouble talking to girls, but when it's a really attractive girl that you like, you're not able to make it a man to woman conversation. You always play it safe. Or maybe you're trying to take your money to the next level. You're trying to get your own business off of the ground. You're trying to land that high paying role. And even though you're keeping your head down and putting in work, it just never seems to materialize. And while these might seem like completely unrelated things on the surface level, really they're all symptoms of the same underlying problem. The problem is that you struggle to maintain strong emotional control when you're having high stress, difficult conversations. So what we're gonna do in this video is take a look at 3 real life situations that every man must be prepared to handle. Because if you're not able to communicate like a man when these things happen to you, you're fucked. Dating is always gonna feel like luck to you. It's always gonna be like there's this invisible countdown timer ticking away from the moment you meet a girl to the moment you lose her. And making money is gonna be impossible because your boss or your business partners, they're always gonna know deep down that they can take advantage of you. Situation 1, putting your girl in her place. So there's a boundary that I set with Julie a few years back where I basically said, look, I'm not okay with you going out to bars and clubs with your friends if I'm not there, because that's a situation where you're gonna get approached by other guys, and I'm just not comfortable with that. And in this case,
I was like, yeah, that's completely fine. I don't really go out to bars and clubs anyways, and I don't want to be put in that situation.
Now that being said, I know this because I have several other close friends who their girls do go out or do travel with their single friends a lot, and it drives the guys crazy, but they still haven't set this boundary, and this comes up a lot in the Beast Nation coaching calls as well. So we're gonna run through this conversation and play it out for you, but I want you to act as if you were
Alright, I got that.
That's a friend of ours who would not easily accept this boundary, so you guys can see how you could navigate this type of conversation.
Alright, babe, I think I'm gonna go out with the girls tonight. We're gonna check out that new restaurant, Noda Blue, and then after, we're gonna hit that One Oak Club I'm super excited for.
Okay, can I be honest with you for a sec?
Yeah?
I'm all for you going out with the girls and, having fun at the restaurants, but I'm no longer comfortable with you going out with the single friends to the bars and clubs afterwards. I just don't want you to be in a situation where you're getting approached by guys, crazy drunk people are there, things can happen, and I'm not cool with that anymore.
What the fuck? Like, where is this coming from? Like, all of a sudden you're gonna set this fucking boundary with me? Like, you haven't had a problem with it before. Like, what are you, fucking jealous or something?
Guys, when you set a boundary, this has to be kind of the expectation. You're not gonna set the boundary and she's not gonna be like, oh yeah, perfect, that's all good. So you have to be prepared for this. Take a deep breath. Okay, it seems like you're pretty upset about this.
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed. Like, are you kidding me? You're taking away my freedoms? What are you, like a pussy? Like, get over it. I'm just going out with my friends. I'm not gonna cheat on you. Okay,
so just so I can fully understand your perspective here, I understand going out to the restaurant and having fun with your friends, spending time with them. And then when your single friends go to the clubs after, I understand they have the motivation to want to go out and, meet guys. That makes sense. But just so I understand for you, what's the reason that you need to be there at the club?
That's not my motivation. I just want to go out and dance with my friends, like hang out with them. I just can't believe you're just taking away this freedom of mine.
And at one point here, you're going to have to really compose yourself and almost treat this a little bit business-like. And it's not that you're being cold or you're being an asshole. You just have to be stoic, because otherwise your inner feelings are going to take over and you're going to be like, no, babe, that's not what it is. I love you. It's okay. Just go with your friends. Okay, so I'd appreciate if you could try and put yourself in my shoes and see this from my perspective for a moment. Maybe I am being a bit protective of you, but I just really am not comfortable with you being in those situations. And again, you can still hang out with your friends at dinner.
It just seems like you're extremely jealous.
And this might go back and forth, and one tool you can use here, and this is in any negotiation, your biggest power as a man is being able to walk away. You should never set a boundary with a girl unless it's something that is that important to you that you would walk away if she doesn't accept it, and you can hint at that fact. Okay, well babe, it seems to me like maybe having the freedom to go out and party with your single friends at the bars and clubs is more important than being in a relationship with me.
And David actually did this recently to me. He set a boundary and brought up this logic, and it's really hard to argue with because it's like, fuck, like, do I really want this freedom or do I want to be in this relationship? And at the end of the day, the girl's gonna be mad because you're setting this boundary, but you need to give her time to process.
Now, guys, something else that's gonna help you maintain your cool in these intimidating situations is being able to look in the mirror and feel confident in your appearance. And your skincare plays a big role in that, which is why I decided to partner with Tiege Hanley to be the sponsor of today's video.
So basically, Tiege Hanley is uncomplicated skincare for men. They're gonna provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Personally, I'd recommend you get started with their level 1 system that has you covered with all of the basics to have your skin looking clear, healthy, and boost that confidence. It's got your daily face wash, your morning moisturizer with sun protection, your evening moisturizer to use before bed, and a twice per week exfoliating scrub. And don't just take my word for it, they have over 7,000 5-star reviews from guys all across the globe. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, you know that they're hooking it up. If you click that first link down in description, you're gonna get 30% off your first skincare system, plus they're throwing in a free gift. And as a Tiege Hanley member, you're gonna get 20% off after that for life. And by the way, the 2 free gifts you get to choose from are a $20 value on their own and a complete game changer: the silicone body scrubber or the face and nail grooming kit. Do not wait any longer. Just click that first link in description to get your skincare routine on point today.
Now, situation 2 is a negotiation. So you know that recently we bought Julia's car, the Porsche Taycan GTS. We also recently bought my car, which I've not revealed to y'all yet, and that required negotiation because the car I wanted, it was a 2024 model year. I'm not going to tell you the make and model. And in order to get a new one, I would have had to custom order it and wait like 6 months or something. But I found 2 used ones, lightly used, like 1,000 miles on the speedometer. And these were in different parts of the United States. One of them was listed for $130,000. One of them was listed for $120,000. And I slightly preferred the $130,000 one because it was a better colorway, in my opinion. So I messaged them. I said, "What's your best price?" And they came down from $130 to $128. Then I hopped on the phone with them, and that's when the negotiation really started. Hey, how's it going, Mr. David? It's good to talk to you finally. What can I do you for? Hey, Michael, what's going on, man? Thanks for taking the call. Also, thank you for already working with me a bit on the price. I appreciate that. Always praise people if you're in a negotiation and they're starting to move the needle towards your direction. Praise that behavior to encourage it so they do more of it. Of course, we want to take care of you. So what can we do to get you inside of this beautiful car? Well, like you saw, I sent you a link to the other car that I was considering. And guys, if you're going into negotiation and you're not willing to walk away from the offer, there's no negotiation. The other party has all the power. The same way you set a boundary with your girl, you have to be willing to actually walk away. So as you see, that one's priced, at $120. That's still a difference of $8,000 from where you're at. And I do prefer the color on the one you have in inventory, but at this price point, man, I wouldn't be able to make that decision. I'd have to go with the other one. Okay, so let me break this down for you. Once we take into account what we paid for this car, as well as what I gotta pay my sales guys, and what we gotta pay to keep this clean and deliver it to you in perfect mint condition, there's really no money left over to lower the price here. Okay, I get where you're coming from. I understand you have to look out for your best interest and the best interest of your dealership. That being said, I also have to look out for my best interests, and given these 2 choices that I'm at, it's still an easy decision unless you're able to work with me on the price. Well, look, if you want to go with the other option that you don't really like as much, I mean, you're going to regret that decision. I don't want to see you go down that road. Like I said, there's not really any margin left over for me to drop the price anymore. I'm already making this as cheap as possible. And sometimes this is how it goes. I like to call it the marathon effect. And a lot of times just by doubling down and tripling down and saying the same thing over and over again, you establish that the line is drawn in the sand and the other people understand that they have to move if an offer is going to be made. Yeah, again, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I understand what you're trying to do. Still though, for me, I wouldn't be able to go with your option if that's the price. So looking at my numbers here, if I was able to get this down another $4,000, down to $124,000. And at that point, man, I'm basically not even making money on this. I'm basically just giving you the car. I don't want to do this, but would that make this a no-brainer decision for you? Okay, 124. No, that definitely helps. I appreciate you doing that. Still, there's a bit of a gap there, so I'm not sure which direction I'll go here. So here's what let's do. Let's hop off the phone, think about it. If you can do a better price, go ahead and text that to me, and I'll have a thought on this as well. And the funny thing is, the next day he texted me and brought the price down another $2,000 to $122. So just because I was able to stay calm, just keep repeating my points, and not give in, I saved $8,000, just like that. Situation 3, extreme awkwardness. Sometimes in life, there's just a really uncomfortable conversation you have to have, and the difference between being the guy who gets ahead and gets the win versus the guy who loses is just being able to put yourself in that situation anyway. So the example we're going to take a look at here is from a guy in Beast Nation, a 25-year-old guy who's been dating his girlfriend for 2 years, and everything's great, no red flags. He actually wants to marry her. The only thing is that she's putting a lot of pressure on him right now to get married already, and it turns out it's because her parents, partly because of cultural and ethnic reasons, they're pressuring her to get married, and he's kind of like, I'm not just going to marry this girl because her parents want us to get married. Now I'm going to resent this forever. This has to happen on my timeline. So after talking to him, I was like, look, bro, the only way to get past this is going to be to confront the monster here, to confront her parents directly. All right, so Julia's going to play the role of the parents. Don't take it easy on me.
I'm not going to.
And I'm going to run through the game plan I gave him. So let's sit up and let's begin. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how you guys doing? I appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with me. I want to talk to you about your daughter, who I'm deeply in love with. From speaking with her, it seems like you guys are really excited to see us get married soon. So I'm curious, what's the situation? I always try and start conversations that could be emotionally charged by letting the other person express themselves fully so that they feel understood.
Yes, you know, it's very important to our culture for our daughter to be married young, and you guys have already been together for 2 years, so we think it's the best time, and also we really want grandchildren, and that is super important to us.
Okay, so it seems like you guys are excited to have grandchildren, which is awesome. I'd love to give you guys some grandchildren. Also, based on your culture and her age, you feel like now's the perfect time.
Yes, exactly.
And now I'm going to do something that might not seem masculine. I'm going to ask for permission. But again, this is emotionally charged, and if I ask for permission for them to hear me out, they're actually going to hear me out. Okay, so can I explain the situation from my perspective?
Sure.
So as you guys know, I just got into this new job role where I'm earning a lot more money, and it's going to make sense for us to be in a more financially secure position before we make that commitment. And also, it's important for us to do this on our timeline instead of on your timeline. We respect you guys, but if we do that, it's going to create resentment, and I think it's going to create a lot of problems in the long term. So, I'd have to ask, would it be possible for you guys to support our timeline and to be a little more patient with us here?
I just feel like you guys are completely disrespecting us. You know how important this is to our culture. Our daughter needs to be married now, because what happens if you don't want to marry her in a couple years? Or if you say that you want to marry her and have grandchildren, just have them now. I don't understand.
Okay, it seems like you're a bit upset. Like, this is very important to you guys.
Yes, we are very upset.
Now, obviously, these conversations are a bit abbreviated, but again, it's going to get to the point where you likely have to draw that line in the sand. So look, I truly do understand where you're coming from, and I really do respect you guys. But if I'm being honest, if we're not able to get your blessing, it creates a situation that I'm not even sure we're able to stay together and get married, because if we did, again, it would create a resentment between us, and that wouldn't be a healthy marriage for us. So I hope you're able to take a step back and have another look at this. And of course, the hard part is actually being able to walk away if the conversation doesn't go the right way. But think about it. In this case, if he accepted the parents' timeline and just got married, it's not going to end there. When they have kids, the parents are going to be trying to parent the kids. They're not going to fully respect this guy, and they're going to run his life. So he understood this, and he told me that he was going to have the conversation. I'm going to have to check in with them, and that he would walk away if it didn't go the right way. Now look, bro, if you take one thing at all from this video, let it be this. When you put yourself in these situations, it's not going to go perfectly. You're not going to stay perfectly calm and composed. You're not going to perfectly execute. But what I've realized in my life is just by creating a game plan beforehand, putting myself in the situation instead of hiding from it and having the conversation, I've gotten infinitely better outcomes in my relationships, with my money, in every part of my life. And also just by building the habit of doing it and almost looking for these situations, every other part of my life has become so much easier. Things like approach anxiety, holding eye contact with people, being confident and comfortable in big group social settings. All of that shit becomes easy. Like, this is playing the game on hard mode. Most people hide from these situations and these conversations their entire life. And it's almost like the easiest life hack. Just put yourself in these situations and you're gonna start to fucking win. Now, if you've been struggling to maintain that masculine, feminine, man to woman dynamic in your relationships, then I recommend you watch this video next. This is a step-by-step game plan to achieving that dynamic and actually maintaining it in the long term. Click there to watch that now, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Stay beastly.